Hello everyone, with Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on weather across Jamaica and the Caribbean. It is Sunday evening, May 14, 2023. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video, share it, subscribe and tap the notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I post a brand new video. Feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section letting me know what that's been like in your area recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. I respond to all comments and I really live for this stuff. Alright, so taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see that the entire Atlantic basin is still being dominated by ridges of high pressure that's sending a lot of easterly trade winds across the main development region into the Caribbean. And we can still see that we have that stalled out trough across portions of the Greater Antilles, affecting sections of the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, Cuba, and even sections of Jamaica, getting in on some of that rainfall. Taking a look at the visible satellite images before the sun went down, we can see a lot of low-level clouds being pushed from east to west across the main development region into the Caribbean. We can also see that we have some high-level clouds being streaked off from the southwest to the northeast. Those clouds don't have any rainfall whatsoever within them, even though they're passing over sections of the northeastern Caribbean at this time. And we can also see that we have a lot of clouds right there across portions of the Bahamas, Cuba, and the Turks and Caicos associated with that trough. Not to mention sections of Jamaica, which got in some afternoon rainfall today as well. We'll be talking more about the Caribbean weather later on. Let's focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about today's weather across Jamaica. It was stated in yesterday's video that we would have received some rainfall across sections of eastern, central, and western Jamaica, with the bias across northern parishes. And what ended up happening? At 12:11 p.m. today, a post was made highlighting some clouds starting to build, bring some isolated showers to sections of some northern parishes, so St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Thomas, Portland, and Westmoreland got in on some of that. Then the clouds continued to build, and then another post was made at 1:15 p.m. highlighting those high-level clouds on the infrared satellite images, bring some amount of thunderstorms to sections of some northern and western parishes in Jamaica. We know the lightning flashes are indicated by those sparkling white dots. And then finally another post was made on our Twitter page at 3:41 p.m. highlighting the very clouds still bring overcast sky showers and thunderstorms to those very areas, even some eastern parishes getting in on some of that as well. And we even had confirmation from some of our followers on our Twitter page. Tyrone stating rain and lightning and thunder in Mobay. My shadow stating second dose of rain and lightning in Mobay. I'm not complaining. Even on our Instagram page, we had our followers commenting and stating what's happening in their area. TG Minidal stating finally got little light drizzle in my side of Mobay. I have regained a little hopes. It's been months. Moving ahead to Cherry Lips Mel stating rain in Bamboo St. Anne. And if we move over to another post, we can see TG stating rain in my neck of the woods in Mobay. And that's it for the comments. So taking a look at the visible satellite images before the sun went down, yes, we indeed had those low-level clouds that moved from east to west across the island, and then they developed into cumulonimbus or thunderclouds, and then when they reached up into the upper levels of the atmosphere, they were being streaked off by the upper level winds off towards the east-northeast, just like what we normally see on the infrared satellite images with all of the colors right here. And we can see that we indeed had a lot of lightning flashes and lightning strikes. We started the thunderstorm season in May, so try to take necessary precautions so that you're not that drastically affected by lightning. It is very dangerous. Don't be there using plumbing, don't be there on electronic devices. You know, stay inside, away from windows and doors as much as you possibly can, and don't be out there under any trees either. And even if we take a look at the Doppler radar images, there was a glitch in the Doppler radar images because it's showing the images from around, let's say, after 4 p.m. today, and we can see that we indeed had those greens that represent moderate rainfall and the yellows that represent strong rainfall, not to mention some reds in there of the coast of Hanover, St. James right there that indicates severe rainfall out into the waters as well. And we had the confirmation on the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website that confirms that yes, we indeed had that rainfall across sections of some eastern, central, and western parishes with the bias across northern Jamaica. with the heaviest rainfall across sections of some northern parishes, just as stated. Taking a look at the temperatures for tonight, we can see that we have 26 degrees Celsius and 26 degrees Celsius in Kingston and 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay. And as usual, these temperatures should be getting lower as the night progresses. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, we can see that both the Euro and the GFS are showing that for the most part across Jamaica we should be receiving average temperatures. We don't have any blues that indicate below normal temperatures or any yellows that indicate above normal temperatures. The above normal temperatures seem to be right there off to the east and south of Jamaica, south of Hispaniola right there. So 1 p.m. by both the Euro and the GFS are showing that for the most part Jamaica should be in the clear. And the average temperatures for the month of May across Jamaica is 89 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about the equivalent of 32 degrees Celsius. Taking a look at the dry air map, we can see that the trough has induced a lot of moist air across the Caribbean region. So we don't have much in the way of dry air. The driest air is right there as indicated by the Keys, the reds and the whites within those reds right there off the coast of Europe and Africa. For right now, Jamaica is embedding a lot of blues, which represent moist air. Taking a look at the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Monday, we can see that majority of the slight haze that we've been having thus far is starting to dissipate across majority of the Caribbean. The most Saharan dust is right there across portions of the main development region as well as sections of Africa. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, we can see the blue surrounding the island that indicate 1.5 meter wave heights or less on both the Euro and the GFS models. And we know that when we have consensus on both models or agreement on both models, the chance of it actually happening are much higher. And why is that? Due to the fact that the winds will be coming in from the east and they won't be coming in that strong. They will be anywhere from, let's say, 10 to 20 knots with the strongest winds on the south coast. But where does all of that air pile up? Where do we have the least amount of winds across the island? We can see the least amount of winds indicated by the blues. We can look at the key. 5 knot winds or less is represented by blue. And we see that across sections of some central and western parishes, especially northern parishes. So we might just have a repeat of what took place today, because wherever that air piles up, wherever we have that least amount of winds, that's where all of the clouds build up and develop into some thunderstorm or cumulonimbus clouds. And then with the upper level wind shear still coming in from the west or the west southwest, as indicated by both the Euro and the GFS forecast for the upper level wind, the north coast still has that upper level support. So we might just see a repeat of what happened today again for Monday, with all of the rainfall and thunderstorm activity across sections of some northern parishes in Jamaica. So mainly sections of maybe western Portland, St. Mary, St. Anne, Trelawney, St. James and Hanover, maybe even spilling into sections of Westmoreland as well, not to mention St. Elizabeth. Alright, so taking a look at the rain forecast for tomorrow, both the Euro and the GFS are showing just like what the winds had predicted. Lots of blues that represent rainfall across northern Jamaica and western Jamaica. What time is this? This is 1 p.m. on the GFS model. Look at the Euro, even showing some greens and some yellows in there, indicating more in the way of rainfall around the same time. So we see agreement, we see consensus. Skipping ahead to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 3 p.m. Jamaica time, we can still see much of the same on both models. And we know that when we have the consensus, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. So if you live on the north coast, ensure that you walk with your rain gear tomorrow as best as you possibly can. And it makes sense that the accumulated precipitation forecast is showing something similar on both maps. The Euro and the GFS are showing majority of the rainfall for, well, from now until 3 on Tuesday, which is actually from now until 10 p.m. on Monday. We can see majority of the rainfall across northern Jamaica. Look at all those rays that indicate up to an inch of rainfall across sections of Hanover, St. James, Trelawney. Not so much on the GFS model. GFS is showing more in the way of rainfall. The most I see 0.59 of an inch of rainfall across sections of St. Anne. So we shall see exactly what unfolds. Either way, we have the consensus in the fact that we'll be receiving some amount of rainfall tomorrow. So take necessary precautions so that they are not that drastically affected. And keep in mind that we might have some amount of isolated thunderstorms, as well as some isolated flash flooding in some spots. And we're indeed grateful that we've been getting all this rainfall thus far, considering that we're in our secondary rainy season, the month of May. where we usually receive up to 230 millimeters of rainfall. So we'll take all the rainfall that we can get to continue to put a dent in this drought and to cool down the temperatures. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let's focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. Alright, so as stated, we have a lot of clouds associated with that trough affecting portions of Hispaniola, Jamaica, Cuba, the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, with some amount of overcast sky showers and thunderstorms. You can see some cloud cover as well as rainfall across sections of the Yucatan Peninsula, Belize, Guatemala, Honduras getting in on some of that as well. Sections of Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia as usual getting in on some rainfall. More than likely some overcast skies taking place across the ABC Islands. And we can see a lot of cloud cover and rainfall across portions of Guyana, Suriname and French Guiana as usual. Taking a look at the Doppler radar images of the northeastern Caribbean from about 1:30 p.m. today, we can see that we had some passing shower or two, nothing that drastic for majority of the Leeward Islands. Majority of the rainfall seemed to be right there across portions of the British and US Virgin Islands, maybe sections of Antigua and Barbuda getting in on some of that rainfall, Anguilla, northwestern Puerto Rico as well. Taking a look at the Barbados radar, we can see some stray showers coming in from the east for Barbados, nothing too drastic. We can also see some of that west of there as well across portions of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, not to mention sections of Dominica and St. Martin and Martinique as well. Taking a look at the wider view of Doppler radar images, we can see a lot of rainfall right there across portions of the Yucatan Peninsula, just like what we stated earlier. You can also see some rainfall across portions of Honduras, not to mention sections of Cuba, as well as sections of Guyana. So all of these Doppler radar images are just confirming all of what we saw on the satellite images. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, we can see that for majority of the eastern Caribbean, especially the Windward Islands, we should be receiving average temperatures. The above normal temperatures seem to be right there across portions of the southern United States, sections of Central America, so portions of Honduras, sections of Nicaragua, sections of Costa Rica, as well as Hispaniola, the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, and Puerto Rico, not to mention the US and British Virgin Islands. That's where we'll be receiving up to maybe at least 3 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures. Taking a look at the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Monday, the Saharan dust is starting to dissipate across majority of the Caribbean. We have some Saharan dust, but it's not that noticeable. We don't have a large plume like what we had in the summer of 2020 at this time. Majority of the dust is right there across portions of the main development region as well as sections of Africa, and we're indeed grateful for that. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, we can see the highest waves right there across portions of the eastern sections of the Pacific, the far south of Jamaica, the far east of the United States, or to the waters to the east of the United States, not to mention to the waters to the east of Trinidad, and that's due to the fact that we'll be having the strongest winds out in those very areas, as indicated by the yellows right there. So it makes sense, wherever we have the strongest winds, that's where we'll have the highest wave heights. And for the majority of the Caribbean for tomorrow, the winds will be coming in from the east, averaging anywhere from 10 to 20 knots. Taking a look at the rain forecast for tomorrow, we can see that both the Euro and the GFS models are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Monday, and we can see even up to an inch of rainfall being predicted for sections of Cuba, portions of Dominican Republic and Haiti, sections of the Turks and Caicos, not to mention sections of Colombia, Western Venezuela, Panama, Costa Rica, as well as sections of Nicaragua and Honduras as usual. And wherever we have that 1 inch of rainfall, there's always the threat of some isolated flash flooding taking place. So try to take it as a precaution so that you're not that drastically affected. We don't have much in the way of rainfall being predicted for majority of the eastern Caribbean at all. We see some slight rainfall right there across sections of maybe Guyana, sections of eastern Venezuela. We don't have much in the way of rainfall, but we do have some slight rainfall across Puerto Rico to receive. But anywhere from, let's say, Guadeloupe southward, Dominica, sections of St. Vincent, Grenada, Barbados, Tobago, Trinidad, not much in the way of rainfall is expected. Taking a look at the western portion of the basin, so sections of Texas, eastern Mexico, majority of the Yucatan Peninsula, sections of Guatemala, Honduras and Belize to be receiving rainfall, and we see consensus on both the Euro and the GFS models. And on that one we have consensus on both maps. The chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.